And welcome back. Let's take a look at two clips that have been sent by my patrons that are getting some coaching from me. And we are just gonna review their games, pause it a little bit, talk about what you can do different, things that are maybe not winnable and things that are apparent to me. We have Lucky's Liquor, or whatever his name is, Lucasy Liquor, and we have Pacetic, whatever. You'll probably know who I'm talking about if you are the person. If you want these clips, if you want to get coached, it's on my Patreon. And you can always say if you want it on the channel, yes or no. Otherwise, I'll keep it unlisted and send it to you privately if you don't feel like getting roasted publicly. Because that's at the end of the day what these clips are for. Let's take a look. We are in the detail team. We have 3 Junker 288s and an ME410 in front of us. So it looks like a small game. And never mind, there's a second bomber next to the one on the left. El Goblin is accompanied by another one. So we have 4 bombers and an ME410. It's probably 7v7 then, because I don't see anyone in the top right of the map here. And I see a 190. Beastly God is probably in an A8 5.0. Why do I think that? Because he is in front of us, he is vertically ahead. And we are absolutely gaining on this guy, meaning that we have a bit of a performance advantage. It can also of course be that he is stock. But if he's stock, then he wouldn't be so far in front of us anyway. And there it is, F82. Spitfire LF9, so we have a 5.0 and a 5.7. And other than that, we don't really know what is in the game right now. This is going to be the main thing. What is the enemy team going to look like? That's probably going to be the most important part. Spitfire dies, which is pretty good. F82 isn't actually climbing. I see one contrail on the top here. Probably going to be accompanied by another bomber, I hope for you. Otherwise you are going to have a bit of an issue. SO 8000. Now that's what you love to see. And we have a Boomer 9000, who is at a decently low altitude. We should have the advantage once we actually merge. Now he might actually come up to our altitude, but he's gonna be way too slow. There he is, 2 B-17s or B-24. Yeah, it's a small game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One already died. 6v6, 2 bombers. Are they in a squad? Geek and Wagner. Wagner is down there, so you don't have to worry about this squad mate. He is not gonna help him out in the slightest. And then we have BBS and WFSS. Yes, they are also in a squad. So we don't really have to worry about any squad play here, because the Spitfire and the SO8000 are both solo. The Spitfire here is going very slow, but we aren't going particularly fast either. 155 knots, I believe that's like 300 kilometers an hour-ish. So you are climbing at the ideal speed. He is not, and then you can tell that because he's not above us. If he had actually climbed properly, he would have been above us. If that's an LF9, we are not completely sure if it's an LF or a Griffin, or maybe it's even a 5.0 clipped wing Mark 16. We have no idea. But as of right now, we probably want to stop climbing in a little bit here, because we don't want to go too slow next to this guy. You do exactly that, that's fantastic. You want to pick up some speed, and you can tell this guy is going slow as balls. And you can tell this because of this right here, when you zoom in. You look at him, and you can tell that he's just kind of falling out of the air. He's moving super slowly. You're picking up some speed for the head-on, which is perfectly acceptable, but okay. You're not going head-on, you are just giving this guy a lot of position. This is going to play out one or two ways. He's either going to pull a little bit of lead and get like 0.1 on your 6, or he's bad and he's gonna end up like 0.5 behind you, and now you have to reset the entire game to get him off your 6. You had a lot of speed right here, you had a lot of performance, and you have a lot of energy. He was going super slow, you were going faster than him. You could have done something there with that. Right now you threw everything away, every advantage that you had. Then there's also second play, but we will get over that in a second here. He's gonna dive on you, he's gonna get super close. This is already super sketch. He gets on your 6. You get away from him, I mean you're diving, but look at how much speed and altitude you are simply throwing away right now. And now that's good to know. It is a Mark 14C. Not the best plane, not the worst plane. It's a Griffin Spit, so we do want to be somewhat careful of it. The Griffin Spits are very good at high altitude, but they are a little less maneuverable at low speed. However, they also compress a little bit less. So our high speed performance isn't as important here, or not as good here compared to him. But this right here ruins your match. This right here. But what's the other play that you could have performed? You have a 190 right here. If you don't feel confident going head on with Boomer 9000 or 90,000 in this case in his console wielded Spitfire, you don't want to go under him. The thing you did here was probably the worst thing you could have done. You gave him position, you gave him free energy, and you gave him the ability to just sit on your 6. And that's the last thing you want in a Dora, because it's going to take you very long to reset from this if your teammate doesn't help you out. And I'm gonna bet on the fact that he won't. Why? Because he's an A8 and he's still flying towards the bomber when there's a Spitfire directly in front of him that you could have easily double teamed. The second you see this guy not going to help you out, and you don't want to go head on with the Spitfire, move next to the 190. The 190 will help you out simply because he is going to be afraid. He sees someone in front of him and he is simply going to head on him. Worst case scenario, he dives away, he flies off, but then the Spitfire has been drained a little bit from energy and now you can very easily boom and zoom in. The SO8000 is going for the Junker 288, so he's not really an issue right now either. So you are in the 2v1 with the Spitfire. By turning to the left, you are disallowing your teammate on the right to help you, and you are allowing the Spitfire to get on your 6 without him being engaged by anyone else. Right now, the A8 is probably tunnel visioned on the B24 or the B17. He's not even looking at the Spitfire. So if you want to dodge the head-on, go to the right towards your teammate. If you want, and you could have, you had enough speed here, you had enough position to shoot in the head-on with the Spitfire. At the very least, always shoot in the head-on. You don't need a full commit, you don't need to full send it into him to the point where you almost ram, but you always want to shoot in the head-on, especially if you have 3 20mm that are all pretty closely packed against the plane. That's actually going to be very annoying to deal with. Right here, you can very easily go head-on, shoot at about 1.7. If he doesn't dodge, he probably blows up, and if he does dodge, you can recommit. He does not have the performance to turn back into you again after he has dodged, and you can just laser him out of the air. And then this entire situation wouldn't have arisen. You would have gone for the SO8000 right afterwards. This guy probably would have cleaned up the bombers, and now you killed 4 out of the 7 people, and one of them is already dead, and there's only 2 guys on the deck. Very easy win. But let's look at how this is going to play out. And this looks very minor. This is a very small quote-unquote mistake, but it has huge implications on the rest of the game. And that's why these are so important. It looks like you made a very small error here. It looks like you just tried to dodge the head-on, which is a fair thing to do. I understand it. Head-ons are dangerous. Head-on are the bane of my existence as well. However, some head-ons you are hard to take. But let's look at how you handle the situation. So you dive under the Spitfire. You get away from him, you start diving out, you try to get the separation up, which is the correct thing to do. You kind of dodge his guns, and you are just diving, losing energy. Now let's look at what the 190 does. Is he actually going to help us out? Of course he isn't. He's going to go for the bombers, because that's what he does. That's what 190 A8 players do. Oh, you actually flew past him. I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game. Maybe you were right, but the fact that this game is called D13 versus Mark 14, I got a little bit of a feeling here. But you know, you never know. He breaks off, which is kind of both bad and good. Gives us the ability to engage the SO8000 in front of us for a little bit because he gives us some breathing room. But him climbing on our 6 is going to absolutely cancel our game. SO8000, set the 288 on fire. And then you do go head on with the SO8000. Now this is what's kind of funny to me. Now I understand that you have more speed to dodge him in the head on, and this thing is an absolute shit brick. However, what you did right here, you could have stuck a little bit longer. I would personally basically wait until he fired, because you had like half a second left here. You could have fired a little bit longer. Maybe you've actually hit him, because if this guy turns around for us, it's kind of game over. Sure, the SO8000 is a bad plane, but he's accompanied by another Mark 14. Now, is the 190 actually going to help? That's going to be my main question. Is he going to do something? Was I actually not familiar with your game, or did I read him like a book? Yeah, there he goes. Absolutely incredible. Look at him. He's just zooming away. He does not give a shit. welcome to War Thunder and your average teammate. He's gonna spend, he needs to fly after him for like 5 kilometers. It's gonna take him half the game to actually kill them. Let's see what happens in the kill feed with this guy in the meantime. But these two are now ruining your game. With the SO8000, you could have gone head on a little bit more aggressively. That's fine, that's not the main thing, because you would have killed him anyway. The main issue here is this Spitfire. And this is a situation you just want to avoid. What I said earlier, either go head on with this guy or go towards your teammate. Do not dive under the Spitfire. You just give him the ability to pick up speed and pull lead on you. You don't want that to happen. Now you're gonna spend the entire game running away from this guy if he doesn't make a mistake. Granted, the SO8000 doesn't just still sit you together because, well, that's what they do. It's a premium plane, they have neuron activation. He does break off. I am gonna feel like this is a fake. He's probably gonna come back the second you turn in for the Spitfire, but you don't want to do that here anyway. The Spitfire is close. Yes, he's going a little bit quicker than us, but our top speed at about 3.5-ish, 3.3-ish kilometers is better. We are faster than this guy and we hold speed better than this guy. He will also start overheating before us. Probably not at this stage in the game, but you never know. We are gonna go straight here, and I don't do what I think you are doing. You want to straighten out. I understand that you are scared of this guy catching you, but going down right now, while he is going pretty fast, like, he's not that close that you need to turn around right now, unless you want to head on him. But even if you want to head on him, he's too close, so you're probably better off waiting till about 1.2. See if you can equalize the energy by diving very gradually, and then maybe climbing very gradually once he's on the same speed level. Right now you do not want to go into a defensive posture, because this SO8000 will turn around the instant you start dogfighting this guy. But let's take a look at it. And this is why you don't want to do it. You are just flying straight, also turning all the way, so it puts more distance between you and the SO8000. But you are not pulling fully, so you didn't need to start diving into him yet. You are now again allowing the Spitfire to pick up speed and have the ability to get closer to you, and that's the last thing you want. You'd only want the Spitfire close to you if you are going much faster than it, like you were at the start, but you know, we've been over that. So you're not pulling fully, you're just giving this guy position, and now he's directly on your 6 at about 0.8, and then you start pulling in. So what benefit did it give you to start pulling in this early? Sure, this is a super tough fight, and you kind of need to hope that he messes it up completely, which is going to be the play of the game here, capitalizing on his mistakes. But if you also start making mistakes, it doesn't matter how bad he is of a player. And I'm not saying he is, I have no idea, but for all I know, he's from the year 9000, and he just has a massive giga brain. But then he wouldn't be called Boomer, so I have no idea. But this guy is now getting free position, getting free speed, and free pull, because he is now just gonna park directly on your 6, or just gonna shoot you out of the air right here. Now you want to just kind of level out here. Okay, this is the second thing. You go from the one worst to the next, and I'm not trying to rip on you, but here you give him position, and then once he's finally close to you, you go straight vertical. Now I understand that you're probably trying to bleed this guy of speed, so you can then run away from him, but you can do that in a horizontal turn as well. You don't want to go straight vertical with a Spitfire. Why is that? He has position, he is slower than you. Well, not really slow, but he's better at being slow than you. He turns better, he stalls later, and he has a better climb rate. Right here, you're dead. But the clip lasts another 2 minutes, so I'm probably gonna guess this guy has absolute dog shit aim. So maybe he doesn't have 90,000 IQ. Now this is what you don't want. If any of those hits that he's getting on you are 20 mils, you're dead. You want to dive out here. You don't want to keep climbing. You're not out climbing him. Sure, at the end of the day you get away from him because your energy retention is a little bit better. But we need to take a look at how you got here. We need to take a look at all the mistakes that you made and how many mistakes that he made. If you had played it right, you would have been dead right here at the first merge. No way around it. But now you do what you should have done the first time around. Dive away slowly, try to get some separation. Once you notice that you're going and getting away from him, you don't need to keep diving. The longer you dive, the more speed you waste, and you want to keep as much speed as possible. And now you're flying directly towards the P-51 and the SO-8000, turning the 1v1 potentially into maybe a 3v1. You don't want to be in this situation. Now maybe the SO-8000 just dives and you are gonna be left alone. SO-8000 looks like he's going for the bombers, but right now, I mean, this is fine. Ignore the Spitfire, hope that the 190 comes in to help you. I get your play, I understand it, but right now you are setting yourself up for an absolute disaster. Because the Spitfire is clearly willing to dogfight you. He is very aggressive with you, and he's just sending it on the deck. Now you're gonna give the Spitfire a lot of position again by going for the 190 or for the P-51. Okay, you crit him, I guess. And now the Spitfire is probably going to catch you again because you just did a bit of a turn. Yeah. I mean, at this point, you're too slow, you're too damaged, you're too low. There's nothing you can do. But look how easily he catches up and how easily he just kind of sits on your ass. Because this is a fight you're not going to win. Now, it doesn't really matter what you do here. You are too slow, you don't turn well enough, and you're gonna hit the ground. Yeah. So, main things here. Use the altitude advantage at the start. Either use your teammates, let your teammates help you, or straight up head on him. This is right here what lost you the game. As well as your aim against the P-51, but that's that aside. This is not gonna work. This is a position where you kind of stabilized. This is okay. You want to fly away from him. You kind of want to go in a gradual dive. You want to pick up your speed. You want to get near your top speed. And then you just level out. And this Spitfire has no chance of doing anything to you. You then want to either try to transition over towards your 90 friend. So by the time he kills the B-17s, you can actually get some help. Or you try to energy trap this guy. Whatever this is, I don't even have a word for it. But this is never going to work unless you set it up properly. You want to either pull in fully, so you get a head-on dogfight, sorry. And then he needs to do a full 360 to catch up to you. And then maybe you hold more speed and you can fly away from him. Or you try to very high speed reverse him. What you do right here is a little bit of in between. You kind of try to do two things. It looks like you're indecisive. I get it, you're trying to turn little amount so that you hold your speed. But because you're trying to hold your speed, this guy just gets free position on your 6. Now, here, you mess up, he gets close. Instead of going up, go horizontal, dive the hell out, and then you could have still gone towards the middle of the map. Second thing here, once you get the separation, once you start outrunning him, you don't need to keep diving. You are already going quicker than him, maintain your top speed, let him do the work, let him go high speed, let him go straight behind you. If he tries to follow you directly on your 6 and you are going in a straight line, you will outrun him and there's nothing he can do about it. Whereas if you keep diving, he can level out, he can sit above you, and the second your dive speed wears off, he can just dive on you and you're done. And then lastly, I understand this mentality. This works in jets. If you are being chased by a plane that's considerably slower than you and you can be fucked to deal with the guy riding your ass, you can just go ignoring the guy on your 6. However, if you then make a ballsy move, you need to deal with the consequences of him being very close to you. Right now, this is an okay approach. I understand it. You're running away from the Spitfire. You are going to get away from the Spitfire. Personally, I would have started turning more gradually at the start here. Kind of intercept him. And the second you start getting close to him, you want to shoot. You want to kill him. Okay, your aim is half the reason you died here. But you want to slam him. And then you want to turn back to the left. You do not want to keep continuing into this direction. Because you're now just giving this guy the ability to cut you off again. And then he gets on your 6. And at this point, there's literally nothing you can do. But that's not the situation, or that's not the plane problem here. That's the situation you got yourself into. So, long story short, be a bit more aggressive at the start. And I see this throughout everything. This is passive. This is passive. Then you go into a very passive reversal that turns you into a sitting duck. Then you run away again. It looks like you are super indecisive. Try to use your energy better. Try to use your performance a little bit better. And if you know your plane, you can look at the risk and see if it's worth it or not. At the start of the game, right here, you know that you have the altitude advantage. You're going faster than him probably, because he is just absolutely falling out of the air, and you are a good 500 to 600 meters above him. Now this doesn't mean that you want to just climb straight over him, but what I personally, if I had to go with my own battle plan, I would have gone a bit to the right. I would have kept the straight line from this point on. I would go to the right, let the Spitfire climb further towards us, and then if he does break off for the 190 A8 that's right next to us, he's dead. Because he just wasted his small amount of energy and we are now above him. You see me do this all the time. Energy trap people from the side. They pitch up to us. Like we are just flying like this. Look at my mouse. And he then needs to kind of climb up to us. And the longer it takes him to get to us, the longer he needs to climb, the more speed that he burns. And the slower he goes on the merge, the easier it is for us. If he at any point breaks off towards our 190, he's done. There's nothing he's going to be doing. This right here is probably the worst thing you could have done in this game. And if you don't like that, you can either hide behind your 190, kind of just loop behind him instead of climbing in front of him. I would have basically pointed at this cloud right here. Maybe this one right here. Just kind of go sideways, let the Spitfire decide on who to go for. Maybe our 190 kills him in the head-on. Maybe the Spitfire goes for him, and then we get an easy kill. If the Spitfire goes for us, he stalls out in front of the 190. Triple whammy, basically can't go wrong no matter what this guy does. But yeah, I wailed on you for enough now. I hope it helps. If you have more clips, be free to send me, because you have not reached your quotum yet. Alright, here's the next one. We have an F4J, and he is asking about something he can do about the Mirage. Now, he's gonna run into a Mirage, but we will see the cameo when it arises. We are gonna be muting that. For obvious reasons, because I still need to eat tomorrow. Let's look at the loadout. 7F, probably fine. Looks okay. 2 sidewinders, rest radar missiles, pretty decent. Can't fault it. Let's take a look. We are going to be taking off. I'm going to be speeding this up for obvious reasons, because the video is already going to be long enough anyway. You can send me a 2-minute clip and I'll probably talk about it for 20 minutes if I could. But going straight in. You're already locking someone up. Likely to be a bot. It doesn't have to be, but it's very likely. So I wouldn't start firing these missiles across the map. You are not doing that, so that's completely fine. Alright, we are about to start reaching the first enemies. This guy right here is climbing. Keep in mind, if someone is climbing in the back, then that means that the other enemies are probably going to be closer. You want to be a little bit closer to the ground here, because if someone suddenly pops up over this wall right here, he can just slam you out of the air. But we'll deal with that if the time comes. Being a little bit lower protects you more from radar missiles, and radar missiles are probably going to be your most deaths at this game mode. You are going straight in, you're looking around, which is all fair and game. I'm not really sure what he's going to do. Maybe you can try to shoot it off and maintain low alt, but you have to start diving into the valley here, so I don't think this is going to be a credible shot. There he is! Would you look at that? Someone starts creeping over the wall. If he has you locked up already, and he doesn't, this guy is fumbling his keys probably. Still doesn't have you locked up. Still doesn't have you locked up. This guy has absolutely no clue what he is doing. But you slammed him, which is great. However, keep in mind for the next time, and I know I'm nitpicky, but that's what you get me for. This guy could have killed you. He would have already had you locked up right now with his ACM mode. That missile would have left the rails by now, and you would have been dead, and now you are shooting. This guy is protected by the ground here. You would have been dead, because you aren't low enough. Now, this guy isn't locking us up. I'm not sure what he's doing, maybe he's stuck, doesn't really matter. That guy could have very easily killed you. Now you are doing the same thing again. You are getting altitude in the first merge of the game. Keep in mind, the JA-37 that you just killed was going straight in. He's probably going to be the first one in line. There's going to be another wave behind him. If you now go up and start climbing, you are setting yourself up to be attacked from basically every angle, and you don't have the ground to help you out. You need to start notching them, and if they come in with more than one at a time, you can't do anything. I see this Mirage coming in, who might be the, the main protagonist of this video. I don't know. You get another kill probably. There we go, very good. MiG-29 or MiG-23 goes down. And again, we are just at a high altitude. We're not going particularly fast here. We're not even going Mach. And Kfir comes in. Look around, very good. But you see someone on the map. Look around, more guys on the left. There he is. That's the Mirage. It's actually the main protagonist. So we got the Kfir locked up. And at this point, you are not able to get shots on the Mirage anymore. He's going too fast. He's turning right in. Also not locking you. You notch him, which is great. The issue is it a Mirage F1 or is it a Mirage 2000? Because if this is a 2000, you are boned. I can tell you already while looking at how long this clip is going to last. And how well you flew in the MiG-21 video that we reviewed, I think like 3 weeks ago. I doubt you're going to die this quickly to an F1. But main thing here, too much altitude, you put yourself in a super vulnerable position. You're going into the first wave, the second wave basically. So this is dogpile hours. If you go for that Kfir, for example, there's a very big chance that a next wave of planes just kind of swoops in and just absolutely takes you apart. But your main issue here was with the Mirage 2000. Keep in mind, the Mirage 2000 beats you in almost every category when it comes to close range fighting. You have more missiles, you have AIM-7Fs, you have a pretty decent radar, but the Mirage 5000 or the Mirage 2005, let's see if it actually is one before I start going on a tangent on a plane that's not even the one that we are fighting. He is going to be turning in. That's what you want to do basically, because you can't run away from it. The issue with the Mirage 2000 is if you turn away, he catches you. If you turn with it, he beats you. If you try to... You kind of need him to bleed some speed by pulling head on, like here. You kind of notch the missile. Maybe it was an IR, doesn't really matter. But right here, you want to keep pulling. Instead of going vertical, what you want to do is you want to kind of just pull in, pull in, pull in. He's not pulling in for shots. You don't need to go vertical. Just keep pulling in. And then, because he wouldn't have been able to get the shot in the first time, you would have been already flying towards your team. Doing this is almost the same thing as the previous guy did in the Dora clip. You're going straight vertical, but here it will kind of work, because the Mirage will lose a lot of speed. Kfir comes in, which is a little bit unlucky, but he does not have radar missiles, making it a little bit easier to dodge. But you are full loadout with a gun pod, 15 minutes of fuel. You're a big target and you're only going 600 speed. This guy's gonna have an absolute riot of a time to shoot you down. Now, you probably don't want to go head on with that. He's going super slow. Kind of just fly over him. That's fine. Don't start pulling back in because you are dead. Yeah, you're dead. You just signed your own death warrant because the Mirage 2000 is a plane you are not going to be beating. That's absolutely comical. This Mirage has no idea what he's doing, and you can tell, and he is still rinsing your ass. Keep that in mind. This guy is clearly kind of inexperienced. But this is a fight you're just not gonna win. Now you can run away now, but you're turning too much. You can kind of run away, get some separation, but you can't really do much here. You need to get away from this guy, and you need some teammates to come around to you. That's a radar missile. Is that gonna hit? Looks like it. Yeah. So, first of all, the Mirage 2000 is going to absolutely hand you your own ass. No way around it. Again, you need to rely on him messing up. Kind of the same, we are kind of in the same situation here as with the Dora in the previous clip. However, this guy is also going to be quicker than you. But he loses a lot more speed. So you can see, it's kind of funny actually, because I didn't even plan this out. It's just basically all luck. How they handle it almost the same way. Indecisiveness is what ended up getting you killed. You are in the middle of the map, very high, not many teammates around that will help you, because the F4S in front there is, he's dead. We also have the F4S here, who looks like he is probably going to be bombing or flying towards the Kfir, and then the Mirage comes in. Now, this right here is fine. Go in, pull straight in, make him do a full 360, but try to keep your own speed. By going vertical, you're just losing your own speed, and you're giving the Mirage more of an ability to get position back on you. Now sure, this works, because he will bleed more speed than you, but then you need to instantly run away. You are kind of trying to do two things at once. You are not going to be winning in the vertical, you are not going to be winning in a drag race, and you're not going to be winning in a dogfight in general. You need to just bleed his speed and get the hell out, the same way you deal with a C7. Right now, I get it, because you don't want to fly away over there, because there's no teammates over there. You want to fly back to where you came from, which is over here somewhere. Mirage comes in, he gets fucking binned by the... Kafir gets binned by the Mirage, and now you see that guy coming in. You want to just fly directly towards one of your teammates. You don't want to keep turning here. He's coming in from above, so it doesn't really matter. If he's in this angle, it doesn't really matter if he has to turn that way, or this way, because he needs to do a turn anyway. But it's going to cost us more speed to actually keep turning here. So just level out, get the hell away from him, and get low to the deck, and hope that a teammate comes in to help you. That's the main thing here. Find an escape route. You don't need to dogfight everyone, even if their plane is better, if their plane is faster. In this scenario right here, he's not quicker than you yet. So you don't need to dogfight him. Just let him get closer. He doesn't have IR missiles anymore. He shot the first one in the merge. He shot the second one at the teammate. So you only need to worry about the radar missile, and if you go low enough, that is not going to be an issue. Just stay alive for long enough so that your teammate can help you out. But you are just absolutely hell-bent on killing yourself, and then you also go very low. Looks like a flare. You just try to flare it. You needed to ECM a little bit more, go a little bit lower, dodge the IR missile or the radar missile. Long story short, you don't need to take every dogfight. Basically the same thing as in the Dora clip. So it's pretty comical that I got two of the same clips basically back to back. Big misplays here, but I get what you're trying to do. Either try to dogfight someone or try to run away. Don't try to do a little bit of both, because you're better off doing the wrong thing committed than doing the good thing half-heartedly and switching up. Every time you switch up and the enemy is just going for you, don't worry about it. Your enemy will always full send for you, because 99% of the people you run into are just absolutely suicidal and will do everything for that one kill. So if you then do everything half-heartedly, he will be more committed, and this time actually Perseverance actually won him the game. Of course his plane is much better than yours, but that's besides the point. Either take the fight or don't do half-half over and over, because then this ends up happening. You're also just alone on the map. Try to stick more with your team. You are an F4S. F4S? Is this an F4S? Is it an F4J maybe? F4J. It doesn't work. So next time, position yourself better. Don't make yourself an absolute massive target in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. And then if you get in a dogfight with a plane that's infinitely more maneuverable, make him turn once and get the hell away. Don't try to stick for the fight. It's a fight you're not going to be winning. If you have any more questions, feel free to contact me on Discord again. But until next time, you'll see me in the next one.